Hi, I'm Don Bodan from SampleLibraryReview.com, and today we're taking a quick look at Opacity 2 by Audio Modern. Following up the developer's Opacity guitar library, this is a collection of boutique cinematic guitars designed for users to mix, adjust a vast selection of guitar chords, textures, swells, phrases, performances, and specifically for quick creation and arrangement. Guitars were performed by composer-guitarist Justin Hodger of Terra Grande. And if you're wondering what happened from Opacity 1 to Opacity 2, a whole different sample set. This time, though, the developer has included some new features, including Performer, which actually lets you play the timbred guitars as a chromatic instrument, as well as reverse options, which makes your swells turn into, you guessed it, risers. All kinds of fun stuff with those. Opacity 2 downloads as 4.9 gigabytes of lossless compressed NCW format audio files, down from 62 gigabytes. It's atmospheric guitar chords, textures, swells, and performances, and they all tempo sync to your DAW. Samples are divided into 14 different sessions, which are shown with the original recording BPM and the original key they're recorded in. As you can see, it's a 4-layer engine, and each of those layers has its own effects controls, and the library comes with a number of its IRs for custom convolution reverbs. It is a contact player instrument, as you can see, loads right into your libraries tab. It's got one NKI for Opacity 2, and let's take some listens. Yeah, so right away, the thing that I love about the instrument is the tone and timbre, the temperament, the focus. This is all comes down to the way the guitarists set their guitars up, their effects processing chain. And I'm really appreciating how, even though it's very subtle, the performances seem to slightly have just a tweak to them. So from the swells, a nice rounded sound, the sequencing, get a little bit more bright texture to it in the phrases. There's a little sparkle to it, even though it's got plenty of verb. And the chords are really rounded out. You can see on the bottom of the keyboard, they've got 4 different sections color-coded, and those correspond to each of these banks, I think is what they call them. Each of the banks, you can hit this Q to quantize it. So if we're playing along to a click, it won't start the performance until that note comes around. Till the next 8th note comes around, is what I'm trying to say. On top of that, we've got 14 sessions. Let's just experiment for a little bit. I'll just listen to a few of them, play around, kind of compose on the fly, and we'll dig in to play with it a little bit. This one, session 4, is at 1:15. I'm right now at 1:06, so let's play 1:15. I'm going to go ahead and play the phrase library because it seems to have the most motion in it. Okay, now let's take it down to 90. And then let's crank it up to 150. Okay, so you could hear it is tempo syncing right to your DAW, especially the rhythmic sequence, obviously speeding up or slowing down. And because of the nature of the sound, I'm not hearing it breaking up or doing anything crazy. Now, that's just one way to control the sound. They've also got the ability to crank down your pitch. So this was in C minor originally. Is that right? Or G minor? Oh, I don't have my glasses on. And then you crank it down. We can go an octave down. And with each of these sessions, as you can kind of hear as I'm playing the different phrases, let's just do that with one of these here. That's the C. A little variation with C sharp. That's nice. It's just a constant on the tonic. And that's on the fifth. Or the fourth. We can also tighten it up. Of course, I'm playing way down there than the original recording. I got negative 12. But you get an idea that you've got such a variation in those, well, I guess, 11 different sequences for each of the banks. And the same thing happens tonality-wise, chord-wise, tonic-wise, I guess is the word, from one to the next. So here's the C's. Here's E flat. Here's A. G, sorry. Here's B flat. I'm just playing through it quickly so that you can kind of see the way that's set up there. Let's go to another session, and I'm just going to play around here. Going back down to 100, so just a little faster than the recorded tempo. Yeah, so I could see how this would be a great way to kind of kickstart a track, to get underscore track going. It's very emotional, the way that the performances are created. So pretty cool being able to play with separate effects for each of these banks, and just with that, turning on a little bit of a different IR, the delay, the stutter effect is kind of cool, creating that gate, and then a little bit of the glitch crush effect and drive. And then all of these effects have MIDI CC controls for the sliders, so with something like this, I could easily create a cool high-pass filter. Or low pass, high pass. Let's listen to another one, shall we? This one recorded originally at 148. Yeah, it's really fun to play. I'm really enjoying it a lot. Let's look at the last new feature before we head out of this quick look, and that's the performance mode. So we're able to perform one of 4 different guitars. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So you got ADSR control, well, attack and release controls, volume control, and some velocity, so you can keep consistent velocity to performance dynamics. You don't have any dynamic levels then. And of course you can play in reverse. And with this, I probably want to change my attack, so I start a little sooner. Nope, it's not doing what I thought it would. Yeah. It takes a while to get there, huh? Alright, that is a quick look at Opacity 2. Again, standouts for me are the timbres, the performances themselves. Really well done, guys. I really like the way that the performances have been captured, the tones, the variations from each of those banks. And I like the way they're divided up here with chords, phrases, sequences, and swells. Of course, you can see here, you can jump in and mush them all together. You can get all swells across here from each of the different sessions, which would give you a little more, a different way to look at the instrument, I guess. The effects, of course, sound really good for contact engine effects. The navigation, getting around, everything makes a lot of sense. I didn't even look at the cabinet there, but I'm out of time for the quick look. Performance, this is like the icing on the cake. I really love these timbres and tones. I'd probably be incorporating these to do my little melodies on top of some of these swells and sequences and phrases. Yeah, really like what Audio Modern has done with Opacity 2, but what about you guys? You have Opacity 1. Is Opacity 2 something you're interested in picking up? Has this quick look video helped give you a little more insight into how you might use the library? Please comment below. Let me know your thoughts. I always appreciate it. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and come back around on Fridays for our weekly deal compressor show where we cover the latest deals and new releases announced in the virtual instrument and plugin world.